Welcome to another episode of New to Me. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this baby just came in the mail this afternoon, so let's break it open. We are looking at the Amaran 200X by Aputure. Let's go ahead, and first off, here's all your technical information. And now the technical information is out of the way, let's crack this puppy open. Okay, so first off, you'll notice that there is no case for this thing. However, I'm pretty sure you can find a case somewhere, and I am actually going to have to stand up for this one. It is well packed. So first thing you get is you get stickers and the instructions. And reaching inside here, you are going to get one of their dishes here. Now, this did come with the newest dish. I was hoping that it would come with a classic dish. I'm glad it didn't because I just ordered 2 classic dishes. And of course, it comes with your standard there. Standard little thing there. Next is the power brick, which is very nice. You do get a safety cable and a very long cord, it looks like. Let's go ahead and unscrew the cord here. And you get an extraordinarily long cord here. Next up in this hole, you have the connector here. And again, it's just a normal 3-prong like computer plug, but it does have this button here, which you have to push back to get it to unattach, but we'll check that out in a minute. And finally, you have the light itself, which is pretty substantially heavy. So there you go. And that's it. That's all that's going to come in the box. Okay, so let's talk about the Amaran 200X. First off, it is plastic. Now, I had a hard time telling it was plastic because the plastic is so solid. I think at first I thought it was metal because there's a huge metal heat sink in here. But the plastic is super, super strong. You are not going to have any problem with this, especially in a studio setting or even taking this anywhere. I think it's really strong. It works great. Now, you do get the very plasticky handle here, but it doesn't feel bad. It is pretty rock solid. And this is very, 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 very strong. You're actually getting some scraping or squeaking in here. Not really sure what that is. However, because it is so difficult to kind of move backwards and forwards, one, that should probably loosen up over time, but 2, I think they did that so that this thing will hold bigger modifiers. But it is very squeaky, and I can hear kind of like squeaking and cracks, which is not always the best thing. But there you go, there you have it. But all in all, the handle does feel pretty solid. Now, one thing to watch out for is not to over tighten this because it will, if you over tighten it, it will actually crack the mount. We've seen that on the other lights on the 200D and the 100D. So just be careful. You do get a umbrella mount, which is cool for all those photographers out there. And again, you have the little turn dial here. That feels fine. And when we look inside, there is a piece of metal inside to protect this from breaking. So all in all, not bad. Now this mount is held on by 4 little screws. So something to think about, all you DIYers who don't like this mount. Not saying, just saying. That might happen. And let's go ahead and take a look at the top here. Now, here is the Bowens release mount. It feels very solid. And that pops off like so. And let's go ahead and put the dish on. Now, this is the newer version of the dish. I did order the classic version. Hopefully, they will be here soon. But I think everybody ordered the classic dish at the same time, so it's going to take a while. Let's go ahead and pop that on. And there is a little bit of play, but not too much, nothing to worry about. And this does pop on and off very tightly, so nothing to worry about there. That looks good. Okay, so let's take a look at the back of this. First off, you have 2 dials, your color temperature and your brightness, and you can quick press both of these buttons to get quick settings. Your Bluetooth reset, you get your cable here, your DC in 48, and you do get a hard switch, which I'm so glad they included. I love things with hard switches. I don't like when you have to hold down a button, like on the Nanlite Pavel tubes, when you have to go and you have to like hold down the buttons and it takes forever to go on. I like hard buttons because this way I can set it up in my studio and then I can just flip a switch and all the lights will go on. I don't have to run around turning everything on independently. So super excited about that. This does have a normal Bowens mount here. Now, I will say that this is a different sensor in here. This is a different cob in here. It is slightly different than their Pro brand, but there is a protective shielding around here. So if you're using this outside, bugs fly into it, they're not going to burn onto your cob, which is super awesome. Now, let's go ahead and connect this thing. First off, you get your power box, and let's take a look at the power box here. And the power box is not bad. Now, I really wish that the power box came with one of these ties because the tie is needed more for the power box than it is for the actual plug-in cable. So I really wish they came with a tie. That would have been great. But you do get this metal safety cable, which twist locks, which is very cool. That it is already pre-installed, and you get a very, very, very long cord. And of course, it is like an XLR cord. Just plugs right in. Pretty much, it is an XLR cord. But for video, it just plugs right into the back of the unit. And then you get your cord to plug into your wall outlet here. Now, if you only have 2 prongs, you will need a 3 to 2 prong adapter, which you can pick up at any box or hardware store. And the other thing I really love about this is you do have this red button here. So when you connect this, it snaps into place. You cannot pull this out. This is not coming out, which is fantastic. You have to pull back on this red lever and then pull it out. Super awesome. And then plugging this thing in is very easy. You just go right here into the back until you'll hear a click. If you want to take it out, you press down on the button and pull it out. Very, very simple. And now the $64 million question. Can this thing hold a giant modifier? And the answer is unequivocally yes. Yes, it can. Rock solid. This is a 38-inch super big octagon softbox. I can tip it forward now. You could hear it kind of cracking, which is not kind of the best feeling in the world. I can hear the mount crackling and being stressed, but believe it or not, it does hold it. How long this mount is going to last, time will tell. But yeah, it will hold a very, very heavy softbox. I would not recommend putting a giant 38-inch octagon softbox on this thing. You probably want something smaller, but if you have something this big, it can take the weight. Again, don't know how long that's going to last. Okay, to give you an idea of how powerful this thing is, this is at 200 ISO on the camera. I am at 20%. That is super bright for this room. Now, this is 20%. Now we're at 40%. Now we're at 60%. Now we're at 80%, and I can't even see. And finally, 100%. Okay, so my final thoughts on the Amaran 200X by Aputure is this is a super bright light. There is no denying. If you cannot afford a 300D Mark II, this is a good option with some caveats. Now, let's jump in and talk about what I do not like about this light, the cons. I will be straight up, just right here at the beginning, the fan noise. Yes, it is loud. It is whiny. From 10 feet away, you can hear it. Your sound guy is going to kill you if you have this anywhere near your subject or near the microphone. It's just that plain and simple. We'll talk about uses in a bit, but it's loud. Now there is a firmware update in the Sidus Link app. I have not put it on. I have not done it to this yet. I have not hooked this up to Sidus Link yet, and that's because this is a straight out of the box. I just got it a couple hours ago review. But when I compare the 100X, which I'm hopefully getting soon, I will have the firmware all updated and I will do a retest of the sound of the fan. Hey guys, I just want to pause the review right here and just talk to you a little bit more about the fan, because as I was editing the video, I went back and did some fan tests, and what I found was that at 20 to 40%, you are not going to hear this fan. It is super quiet. Only when I went up between 40 and 50% did I hear a slight kind of like that whining, that kind of crackling that everybody's been talking about, but it was so slight. You still could hear it from 10 feet away. So it is still there above 40 degree brightness. Now, let's be honest, in a studio, you are most likely, especially a small one like this, you are not going to go above 40% on this. It is just way too bright. And you most likely are going to have some kind of modifier on the front, which will help to mask the noise. So at the end of the day, yes, in this review, I'll mention about the fan a couple more times, but you're not going to be using this thing on full power. So use it around 40%. You shouldn't have a problem with the fan. Plus, we'll have to see what the new Citus link, what the firmware update does to the fan. But I just wanted to kind of pop in here and say I did more fan tests. And if you're going to stay about 40% power, which is what you're going to use in a studio, you're really not going to hear it, especially if you're using a body mic or especially if this thing is pretty far away. But once you start getting up to like 45, 50, then I kind of heard it, and I heard it cranking just slightly, not enough to bug me, but just slightly a little bit more than my 300D. So that's it. Let's go back to the review. So now, the fan doesn't bother me as much as this next con, and that is this mount. This mount does not instill confidence. It is squeaky and crackly, and really feels cheap. I know it was a way to save money on this, but I would have paid a little bit more money to have a mount that was a little bit better. Also be careful on tightening the handle here. I've seen videos where people over tighten this and they crack the whole base. That is a thing that happens. Now, with that said, I do like, let's say I do like the umbrella holder. I do photography from time to time, so I like that. But this feels like it could have been better. Now this is only held on by 4 little screws, so if it broke, you could probably order a replacement piece from Aputure and put it on yourself. You probably wouldn't need to send this light in. They could just send you the replacement piece, take a screwdriver, you're done. Or add your own kind of mount, but I did not say that because that would void your warranty. But maybe. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, not crazy about the mount. Really does not instill confidence. That is the only thing that I'm really worried about on this light, especially if I want to take this on the job with me. And then the final con on the light itself is the screen. When you tilt it down, you lose the screen. Now this seems to be like this would be the most important viewing angle, because when it's up high and pointed down, like I said, sometimes I like to walk behind and take a look and see what it's set to. They're banking that you're going to have a cell phone or tablet in your hand, so just have your cell phone ready. Unfortunately, that is where we're at. Don't know why the viewing angle is only poor at one angle, and that seems to me the most important angle, because left and right I didn't have a problem with, and when this was tilted up, I could still see the screen. God, this mount. So that's it. Those are the only cons on the light here. Let's talk about the cons on this. The power cord is very, very short. You will need an extension cord. Now, other than that, it's fine. I really wish they gave us one of these twisty ties for this mess, because this is the mess that needs to be controlled. Now, I do know why they gave us this mess. It's to get it up really high. But I really wish they gave us a twisty tie, and I really wish this were just maybe a little longer. But again, gonna need an extension cord. Now let's talk about things I really like about this light, and there are a lot more of those. I like the fact that they give you this mess because you could put this thing really super high. I love the fact that it is this XLR type cord that locks. Love it. I love the fact they give you this cable, this twist lock cable, which is great, and it is permanent. The one thing I wish they gave us is kind of like a V-mount Velcro strap that you could slide this into and then click it to a V-mount plate. However, that is something I could probably do myself and might, so watch this space. But I do love this. I love the fact that the cable, when you put the cable in, it locks in, and you cannot pull this out unless you pull down on this red button. That is fantastic. Really love that. I think they really did a good job on that. Let's talk about things I like on this. The Bowens mount release is very, very nice. It locks, it feels solid, it doesn't feel cheap. Yes, there is a little bit of play in here, but not a whole lot. Not as much as on some other lights. The body, when I first pulled it out of the box, I thought it was metal. Of course, I was hitting it on the side and hitting the giant heatsink that's inside. I did have to actually hit the back here to realize that it was plastic, but it is a very rock solid plastic. You're not going to break this. You're going to break the mount before you break this. So I really love the build quality. The Bowens mount works great. I love the fact you get a piece of glass over here, so you're not going, so if bugs fly into your light, if you're using it outside, it's not going to get burned onto your cob. That's great. Super bright. Now, the screen is nice and bright unless you tilt it down, then you lose it. The buttons feel rock solid, even though they're plastic. They are a very, very good plastic. Rock solid. You get a nice Bluetooth reset. You get the DC in 48 volt here. And I love the fact that they put a hard switch on this. I hate when I have to go around and hold down buttons until they go on. That drives me crazy. The fact that this has a hard switch and I could just keep this on and then attach it to a light switch and just flip on a switch and have all my lights go on, that to me is a huge plus, no matter whether I'm in a studio, no matter where I am, whether I'm in a studio or whether I'm on the job. I love that. Unlike some other lights that are behind me that are lighting the wall and light bubble tubes. Anyway. Yeah, so love the hard switch. Now I do like this dish. I did order the classic dish, so I want to see how the classic dish works. Dish is fine. It is well made. You know, it's Aputure. It's rock solid. So all in all, very, very well made. I do really like this light. Now let's talk about who this is for. If you cannot afford an Aputure 300D Mark II, like I have over there, this is a very good substitute, provided that you are not going to use this anywhere near a microphone. I would suggest using a body mic or getting this as far away from your subject and the sound as possible, because your sound guy will kill you, because from 10 feet away, you can hear this thing. It is undeniable. It is a loud fan. Now, again, I don't know how the firmware upgrade is. I will test that later on, but it's loud. Now, I can definitely see myself using this for narrative filmmaking, for interviews, providing it's not close, for music videos, for commercials. Can I use this in a YouTube studio? Yes, again, provided you have a very big space or you have this behind a booklight or a giant octagon softbox in front of it, something to muffle the sound and that it is not near anywhere near a microphone. If you have a small room like I have, mine is 13 by 18, but I'm in a very but it's long and very closed in. This I'm probably most likely not going to hang in here. It is just going to be too loud. So iffy on the YouTube studio thing. And the fact that this is a studio light, I would rather you spend the money on a 100X or a 100D, because I hear those are better. Again, watch this space, because I will be comparing the two. And I will be doing a review of the 100X. So all in all, this is a super powerful light. For the price, I believe it's $350 at the time of the recording of this video. It's super bright. I'm going to use this shooting through windows. I'm going to use it far away. I'm going to use it in the background. I'm going to be using it to light up big areas. I could definitely see myself using this, and the fact that it's bicolor gives me so many more options. Really love this thing. Now, if you do want like raw power, I would definitely suggest getting the 200D because this is slightly less bright. But again, for me, I like the color options over the brightness. I could always add more lighting because I have a ton of it. So all in all, for those certain cases, I can recommend this. But just keep in mind, yoke, fan noise, that's definitely going to be an issue for some. So that's it. Those are my final thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to mash that bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below, as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and this is new to me.